Development and Entrepreneurship and Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. On behalf of all the members of SK90, I welcome you, sir, to our meeting. We feel privileged to also have Shri M. Nagarajan, Commissioner Higher Education. With pride, we also welcome our own alumnus, Mr. Ravi Ghiyar, who plays a vital role in various social and political campaigns at national as well as state level, and Mr. Hiranmay Mahanta, CEO, Innovation Hub, Government of Gujarat. To commence the program, may I please request our Director, Professor Anupam Shukla, to felicitate the Honorable Minister with a bouquet. I request our Deputy Director, Professor P.L. Patel, to felicitate Shri Nagarajan. Thank you, sir. To proceed with the program, I request Professor Anupam Shukla, the Director of SK90, to deliver the welcome address.
I take the opportunity to briefly introduce the guests about our institute. This institute was initially established as Sardar Vallabhbhai Regional College of Engineering and Technology in the year 1969 and elevated as National Institute of Technology in October 2002. It has been accorded as the status of a National Institute of National Importance by Act of NIT 2007. Institute runs 6 UG programs in different areas of engineering, 19 PG programs, PhD program in all disciplinary of engineering, and 5 years integrated MSc program in physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Institute is committed to offer quality education to promote technology-based innovation, research industry, institute interaction, and value-based education. Total strength of the students is approximately 5,900. Institute will start new departments from next academic year in the area of artificial intelligence, data science, computational mathematics, and business management to update the students for exploring the recent technology challenges. Faculty members of the institute are actively involved in R&D activity through research and projects and consultancy. At present, the institute has approximately 39 ongoing research projects of the tune of approximately rupees 34 crore. The institute also financially supports towards IPR at institute level for faculty. In the last 3 academic years, 18 patents and 60 design registrations were granted. The institute has 37 MOUs of national and international level at universities and industries. The expertise of faculty members is applied to solve industry and societal problems through consultancy services provided by institute, and the amount of revenue generated is of the order of approximately 12 crores. Sir, the institute also committed to implement of National Education Policy 2020 in the time-bound manner. We are doing the necessary steps in the curriculum revision in line with the NEP 2020. The institute has already made the necessary changes in the curriculum to suit the innovation and entrepreneurial culture. The institute established Center for Interdisciplinary Education and Research. The institute promotes the startup culture among the students through Ashine. The research carried out by the faculty and students to identify the research problem, gaps needed to fulfill the societal requirement, which create the environment for innovation and bring the concept of need-based research for creating the change. This becomes a base for the awareness of the students towards startups to convert the ideas into the product. SK90 already has a strong research team in the LSI area, and we are committed to play a crucial role in forming long-term strategy for multi-fold growth in semiconductor design area and strengthen the Indian semiconductor vision of the Government of India. We start the cutting-edge research in the area with national and global collaboration and open the Center of Excellence in the Semiconductor Design to take the leadership in the country. The institute will open a skill development center to train the young graduates and undergraduate students to bridge the gap of the requirement of trained manpower needed by the semiconductor industries in the future. The institute will provide the trained human resource and infrastructure for the startups, incubators in collaboration with Government of Gujarat in the area of semiconductor design. I once again warmly welcome all the distinguished guests, faculty, staff and students in today's event. I hope today's event will generate new ideas to address the issue of concern to you. The doors of our institutes are always open to you, all the quality interaction with your innovative approach. With these words, let me welcome you once again. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. May I request Shri M. Nagarajan, Commissioner Higher Education, to address the audience.
Very warm good evening to one and all. Respected Minister of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and IT, Government of India, Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji. Respected Director SPNIT, 3-star, my fellow faculty members, guests, officers, and my dear students. Today it's a very eminent occasion for all of us. An institution of national importance like SPNIT is having the august presence of Honorable Minister, who is an inspiration for all of us and especially you all emerging engineers. I am very glad to be part of this great occasion where he is going to have a free chat with you all, discussing about the ideas that you have in mind and also to discuss about the coming decade of opportunities, which has been called as the decade, where technology is going to drive innovation, change and development for this country and what role that you engineers could be playing. He is an inspiration especially for you all because he himself started out as an electronics engineer. We all heard about Pentium. He has worked in the core design of Pentium, which created revolution in the IT and digital space, and the successors of Pentium is still making waves and we are still touching the borders of potential of this microchip revolution. So today we have a great occasion to listen to him. He is also an inspiration for all of us because he has lived across various states, being an army officer's son, and after Intel, when he came back to India, he started BPL Mobile, which was the first telecom company in India and which became a unicorn. He was still not satisfied with that. He jumped into public life in 15 years ago and he has served in various capacities and now he is representing as a member in Rajya Sabha and currently he is also the Minister for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, which is the most important portfolio for building the new India that we all are dreaming. Prime Minister Modi Sahab has told that in 2047, India will be a startup nation. 20 years ago when we were talking about a developed India, I read the book called India Vision 2020. I was in this side of the stage and I thought, okay, now everyone is saying I will be responsible for making India develop. I'll do what I can. So I decided to become an IAS officer. Now 2020 has passed, 2022 has come. A new dream of new India has come, where India will gain its rightful position in the Committee of Nations with its supremacy in knowledge, education, values and for the greatness and goodness of the humanity. For that, technology will be the enabler of change. And this 2047, the next 25 years, you will all move from this side of the stage to this side. So what will be your journey? How will you design your own life, which is of great importance to us all. Gujarat government, along with various institutions including SPNIT, is supporting budding entrepreneurs and students like you to work on your ideas. Any person who has an idea that can solve a problem for India and for Indians and for the world, you will be supported very well. Today, Honorable Minister has interacted with Ashine startups and a lot of startups have done pretty much spectacular work in various sectors and still a lot more is to be done. When I see SPNIT with 5,500 students, it is more than a typical university. And the kind of innovation that can happen with the kind of technological prowess that this institution possesses, we can go for multidisciplinary and integrated approach where multiple domains can collaborate together with the use of emerging technologies like 3D printing, robotics, AML, and then create solutions for India and including drones. I have worked in Surat some time ago as Smart City Surat CEO, and I have collaborated with many faculties of SVNIT, whose research is very cutting edge, especially in transportation and application of technology in areas and traffic signal management. So the application is very much varied, and in Smart City we also engage them in many of the quality control projects in civil engineering and all that. But now it is time for SVNIT to contribute in this dream by increasing your rate of innovation at least 10x, 20x. Some 10 startups, we should go for 100 startups a year. And by thumb rule, in Gujarat government also there is a vision. Honorable Minister also appreciated that we should at least aspire to create 10% of our students as entrepreneurs and startup. So if SVNIT is anchoring for 5,500 students, we should have 550 startups. So either every engineer or every student of SVNIT should be either creating a startup or working for a startup. Only then we will be able to shoulder this broad responsibility of coming up in a national level exam, coming to a top institute where this whole country is having big expectations out of you to solve them, support them. And with these words, I heartily again welcome Honorable Minister. It is a pleasure to have him here, and I am sure that today's conversation will be very enlightening and very memorable for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words. Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar, a former chip designer, is currently serving as the Union Minister of State in Ministry of Electronics, Information Technology and Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. He has been in public service since last 16 years. As a technology entrepreneur, he is known as one of the pioneers who built the Indian telecom sector and established India's biggest cellular network. His telecom startup, BPL Mobile, became a unicorn when the word unicorn was not even coined. With an experience of over 3 decades of technology, he is considered to be one of the leading minds of technology in India. As a minister, he has been advocating and leading the Digital India program launched by the Honorable Prime Minister in 2015. The minister is working towards implementing Honorable Prime Minister's vision of transforming India into a global skills hub. We are humbled to have the Honorable Minister with us today, who will motivate and guide our young technocrats in their entrepreneurial endeavor. I now request all the dignitaries to please step down from the dais for the arrangements to be made for fire taxes. I request Ms. Ayushi Singh, third year student of Civil Engineering Department, Devanshu Vyas, third year Mechanical Engineering student, Sameer Ranjan, third year Mechanical Engineering student, to please come towards the stage.
Sir, given the trajectory of your success, we wonder what type of student were you? And is being academically strong at a very young age essential to be successful technically?
This question I'm asked, first of all, thank you for inviting me here to SVNIP, and thank you for being here. There is a conspiracy that you are trying to expose my poor educational record. But the fact is, मैं कुछ स्कूल में कुछ ज़्यादा high performance student था नहीं. I was a student that enjoyed mathematics, I enjoyed physics, but I was terrible in social sciences, history, geography, almost failed Hindi. तो मैं average student था, कोई मेरे parents कुछ ज़्यादा खुश थे नहीं, but I was an average student. But I think I found my calling when I entered engineering. So to answer your question that was asked of me a few days ago as well, I was not a great student in school.
Sir, like you come from a defense background, your father, so you traveled across so many states. So has your relationship with your father in any way built towards your children?
And also, look, I'm a Fauji son. My father was in the Air Force, not in the Army. And and I think it has left a big impression on who I am as a personality. My full approach towards public life and public service is inspired by men in uniform and their families and how they are committed to a life of service to the nation. But my relationship with my father was a very different relationship from my relationship with my son. Today's youngsters, and my son is about as old as you, a little younger, don't have, they are a very different relationship with their parents as what we had. Our relationship had a lot more respect, and I don't mean yours is not of respect, but there was a lot more command and control about the relationship that we had with our parents. And today's youngsters and youth are all, in a sense, driving their destiny and driving their life's mission more or less on their own, with some guidance from the parent. In our case, the parents decided a lot कि आप engineering करेंगे, medicine जाएंगे, IIT JEE में entrance exam देंगे. तो थोड़ा बहुत वहाँ पे they were steering us more than parents of this generation.
So beyond academics, was there any co-curricular activity which you pursued? And you were also part of Central Advisory Committee for NCC. So was joining NCC?
NCC was not so much a co-curricular activity. It was part of our school, and I was a very active NCC member. I was in the air wing because my father was in the Air Force. And my size doesn't show you now, but I was very active as a sports person. I was into badminton, squash, all of that. So those were my sports co-curricular activities. But the most, if you ask me what my main passion was during my school and my college, it was reading. I was a voracious reader. I had one of the largest collection of books amongst my classmates in school. So I was a big reader. It remains intact with me.
So one book that you would recommend us?
It was mushkil. This is a very difficult question because I'll tell you why. I can tell you books about inspiration, I can tell you books about technology. It depends on what your passion is and what you like. Now, if you like humor, you like mystery, you like fiction, there's a different category of books. If you like to be inspired by people's lives or entrepreneurs, then I'll recommend a different. What are you studying?
So civil engineering.
So I can't think of anybody in civil engineering that I can recommend a book about because I have not read any. But if you were, for example, in electronics or you were in telecommunication, I would say read a book called Money Out of Thin Air, which is a life about Craig McCaw, the pioneer of cellular in the world. If you ask me, you want to talk about an industry leader who was a great manager, a great inspiration, I would say read a book by Andy Grove called Only the Paranoid Survive. If you want to read a book about Steve Jobs, I would say read a book called Icon, ICON. So like this, there is no singular book that I would recommend to anybody. It all depends on what you like and what your passion is.
Sir, you graduated from Manipal Institute of Technology and then you completed your masters from Illinois Institute of Technology. So you explored both Indian education system and American education system. Which system are you more fond of?
Look, I will not pick one over the other. I think I discovered my passion for computers and coding in Manipal, in Bangalore University. There was in those days, and you will all laugh, but our computer center was a hall like this, 1/4 of the hall. It had a mini computer called TCM Spectrum 7, ran CP bar as an operating system. और एक पूरा लाइन लगते थे लोग बाहर to use half an hour of the computer at a time. So that was a great learning. It was and living in boarding and being ragged by my seniors and all of that was another one type of experience. Going to the US, studying in Illinois, the first day I landed, I got mugged. So that was a different type of experience. And I worked on some of the most advanced computers of those days called the Encore, which is a multiprocessor Unix system. And so I will never say that one is better than the other. I would always be proud of my Indian education because that is the foundational education that I have. People ask me about my Kendriya Vidyalaya 9 school, and I say I would not exchange that for the best private school in India. Because Kendriya Vidyalaya, आज मैं जब यूपी में जाता हूँ और यूपी के इलेक्शन के टाइम पे I did 9 public programs in शुद्ध हिंदी, and I used to say कि मैं मद्रासी हूँ और मेरे हिंदी पर आप हंसिए मत. People say नहीं आपका हिंदी तो ठीक है, कहाँ से आया हिंदी? Because of Kendriya Vidyalaya. So these are all things that. So I'm very proud of the Indian education system. I'm very proud of what it has done for me, and I think you all should also have a great deal of confidence about the Indian education system, especially since now there is this national education policy that the Prime Minister has built. It is absolutely the deepest, biggest reform in education since the independence that India has had.
सर लाइक अभी तक एक नोशन होता है कि वन करियर इज इनफ, लाइक जॉब हो गई, बिजनेस, स्टार्टअप, एनीथिंग, बट यू हैव बीन अ ग्रेट इंजीनियर, एक्सीलेंट एंटरप्रेन्योर एंड एन आउटस्टैंडिंग पॉलिटिशियन. सर, सो व्हाट हैव you been motivated by to excel in all the fields?
What? No, look, I mean, again, I don't want just to make this about myself so much. But I have a keeda in my head that when I'm given an opportunity, I will do the most of it. वो मुझे कीड़ा काफी साल से है. So when I have an opportunity to be a design engineer, I made the most of it. And when I got an opportunity to start a business in mobile, I made the most of it. I've been 15 years in politics, in public life, and I think I have not wasted even a minute. Even the Honorable Prime Minister says, you live your life like every minute counts. And to a large extent, I believe in that. And I often tell my son and I often tell youngsters in your generation that while you think you have the rest of the life ahead of you, the minute that you waste today or the day that you lose today is the day you will never recover. So spend it wisely because this is all like an economics account. जो डेबिट हो जाता है तो उसको जीरो को में क्यों वेस्ट करते हो? कुछ करो, पढ़ो, आप सीखो, रीड करो, कुछ काम करो. So that has been my underlying philosophy for almost everything I do.
So I went through your social media handles and I found a very interesting word, aviator. So up till now, India used to buy different fighter jets from other countries. So being from a defense background, what vision do you see in India so that to make it self-suffice so that we design and manufacture latest generation fighter jets indigenous?
Good question, very good question. And I will share a very angry meeting I had in 2010. I was in a parliamentary committee and the HAL chairman came in front of the parliamentary committee and they were discussing something about HAL's budget. So मैंने कुछ बोला नहीं for first 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then I just exploded because of frustration. I said, ये कैसा? How have you come to such a situation where a country like ours that is launching rockets, sending satellites up into the sky, has to buy training aeroplanes from a country that is known for making chocolates? Because 2010 में we went through the indignity as a nation of buying training aircraft. Training aircraft are not high performance aircraft. एक engine लगा दिया नाट के सामने and we trained the people to fly. We bought it from Switzerland, not USA, not Europe, not not UK, not any of the advanced technology companies, but we had bought it from Switzerland. And so that was in my opinion, the bottom of where we had gone as a nation in technology. Today, of course, we are now the same HAL who said we cannot design, we cannot make, is today making an aeroplane called the XTT-44, which is a trainer aircraft that is superior to the Pilatus. The same HAL today is making the AJT advanced jet trainer that is superior to the Hawk. So to your point, I think for several years in our country, there were people who had a vested interest in importing rather than designing, building, and creating on our own. It is the same reason, for example, for all of these generations of mobile technologies. The first generation, the second 2G, 3G and 4G. Almost every piece of equipment was imported. The radio, the switch, the microwave, the interconnects, all of them were imported from whether Nokia, Siemens, Motorola, etc., Ericsson. First time in the history of India, now when we launch 5G, the fifth generation of mobile technology, a large piece of the network equipment will be designed in India and or manufactured. That is the distance that India has travelled in the last 5-7 years. So for being a consumer of technologies, we are now becoming a producer of platforms and technology. So this is, so to answer your question, I was very angry. I let my frustration out, and I like to believe that थोड़ा उसका effect था कि वो उन्होंने उठ के थोड़ा means they होश में आकर अभी वो जो HTT44 has come out now is a result of at least I hope a little bit that we were all very angry and frustrated.
So, what motivated you to leave such a giant company, and how did you deal with the dilemma of move out, and how did you work out to become a startup?
Look, these are, I think, individuals take these decisions. I was, when I left Intel in 91, I was 27 years old, 26, 27 years old. I had made some money, and at that age, I don't know what your risk capacity is. I had a tremendous appetite for risk. चलो इसको 2 साल में छोड़ के let try करते हैं. तो ऐसा ट्राई किया, and similarly 2006 में I decided to walk away from cellular, sell my company, and I get into politics. And everybody said, "Arey, you are an entrepreneur. How are you getting into politics?" Some people have an ability to do it. Some people like the comfort zone of continuing the same thing. I particularly like taking risks. Not anymore. उन ज़माने में थोड़ा I used to like taking these changes and experiencing it. But no regrets.
Sir, nowadays we can start a business or a startup very easily, like through Asia and many centers. But back then, when you started BPL, the times were different. The government formalities and all that was very difficult. So how did you overcome all that?
No, so here is I want to tell you very clearly about the two scenarios. Yes, it was more difficult for us. We did not have the Mr. Nagarajans to help us. For us those days, bureaucrats means भागो या किसी में if you can मारो लेकिन भागो. But आज के दिन में the entire atmosphere, especially in the last 7 years, is enabling. तो ये advantage है. लेकिन मैं आपको disadvantage बताता हूँ आपको. ये आप सुन लीजिएगा. When we were entrepreneurs, there were very few people who were entrepreneurs. So our chances of success were more. Effort was more. We had to deal with government, we had to deal with all kinds of problems, red tape, compliance, agreements, approvals, all that. वो सब था, लेकिन chances of success was more, क्योंकि competition was less. पैसा मिलना मुश्किल था. आज के दिन में जैसे we are sitting today in SVNIT, there are 5,000 students, and as Mr. Nagarajan said, 500 of you will be entrepreneurs, 600 of you will be entrepreneurs. But that is happening all around the country. So it is an incredibly competitive space. There are many bright Indians today all over the country. और ये जो narrative था कि बेंगलोर में ही है, या हैदराबाद में ही है, या पुणे में ही है, चेन्नई में, वो तो गया train long time it was dispatched. So today these smart brains are in Surat, they could be in Bharuch, they could be in Kohima, they could be in Srinagar, they could be in North Karnataka, they could be in North Andhra Pradesh. So it is a much more competitive space. And you are now also competing not just with the rest of India, you are competing with the rest of the world. Because the internet has now connected everybody. And the innovations are the same innovation, whether you are in crypto, whether you are in blockchain, whether you are in Web 3.0. There is a youngster sitting in Poland, youngster sitting in Croatia, youngster sitting in Korea, youngster sitting in Taiwan, who is also innovating at the same time as you are.
So during your entrepreneurial journey, how did you manage your setbacks? Can you share some experience?
As a process, तो नहीं था, setback was setback, and you just tough it out, and there were many setbacks, plenty of setbacks, and you just tough it out, and you say that it is not it's not in your nature to give up. It is in your nature to persevere. It is in your nature to be determined and focus on your goals. There has to be tremendous resilience in terms of how you approach failures, because failures will be there. ये भी मुझे नहीं बताना आप लोगों को कि आपने एक idea between your walk from the dorm to the lab, you came up with the idea, and then from the dorm to the other dorm, friend's dorm, you got the financing from family and friends, and that automatically means you'll be successful. That is not at all true. There are many other variables that come into success, and therefore there are equally number of variables that will determine failure. But that is not to say that you should walk away because the risks of failure are high. Failure only means that even if you fail, you will learn from that failure and then restart either the same thing or a better thing, which has got inputs from your failure. So there is no particular science to deal with failure or no textbook for it. It is basically how you handle it. In everything, well, if you have a girlfriend and the girlfriend tells you, he dumps you, that's failure. How do you deal with it? So don't do anything dramatic. Just say, okay, I'll handle it. I'll move on.
So, क्या passion और risk taking factor enough होता है कोई नया venture start करने के लिए without having prior experience?
Enough तो नहीं है, but जरूरी तो जरूर है. You need passion. You need to be very very determined कि मैं करूँगा ये. गलत तो गलत, सही तो सही, सक्सेस तो सक्सेस, फेलियर तो फेलियर, लेकिन मुझे करना ही है. उस टाइप का पैशन तो जरूरी है. Even if you don't have experience, and I said this earlier in the morning, you must make it a point to know more about that domain. From your professors, from your friends, from reading, from blogs, from online. There is no area that is not being talked about or researched or written about. ऐसा कोई area तो है नहीं. Even if you are going to do a launch vehicle for the rocket, that area has plenty of correspondence and notes and blogs and documents and research. So being aware, and I use the phrase situationally aware about the domain that you are going to enter is very important. You need not have experience. When I entered politics, I did not have experience, but I certainly did a lot of reading about Constituent Assembly speeches, what our leaders had spoken, what the great leader whom your institution is named after, Vallabhbhai ji, had spoken in. So you have to be situationally aware of the domain that you are entering. And that is not difficult. Today with Google and browsers and the net, it is very very easy to become aware of that domain.
So, like we know about the great American dream that anyone from anywhere can start and get success. But we are still having many remote areas, and the local students are still little bit of disconnected. So, what are the steps government taking to connect them to the mainstream and bring them to synergy?
Good question. One of the first things that our Prime Minister did in 2014 is to say that this trend of having digital opportunities and technology opportunities concentrated in these 4 cities must stop. And he said our first target was from 4 to 15 and 15 to 25. So pre-COVID, there were almost 25 towns and cities in India that were in the technology landscape. Post-COVID, with work from home, now it doesn't matter. Every city, every town, everybody today has somebody or the other involved in technology. So ये तो होगा एक. Second is the Honorable Prime Minister has recently said there will be, so before I get to that, We are today 82 crore Indians connected to the internet. We are one of the largest connected nations in the world, but we still have 38 crore Indians who are not connected to it. And therefore we are still one of the largest unconnected nations in the world. Prime Minister का विजन है कि अगले 3 साल में through a combination of BharatNet, 5G and 4G BSNL through USO, there will be no black spot without coverage, and there will be no unconnected Indian after 2025. So 120 crore Indians will be connected to the internet. Old pensioners and grandparents, children, wives, women, household mothers, professional women, professional men, everybody will be connected to the internet. And that automatically will ensure that the whole digital opportunity inclusion, whether it is education, whether it is skill development, all of that will be available to the remotest and furthest. On top of that, if you see what the government of India under Prime Minister has done, we have created large number of public platforms. Aadhaar identity authentication platform, health ID platform, Shramik platform. We are now launching an education platform and a skilling platform where anybody from India can log into the platform and access skilling. So that is the whole idea of digitizing government, digitizing our economy, and making sure digital opportunities, services and digital government reaches every Indian citizen.
So recently CEO of Intel visited India and he met you too. So there was a time when he was one of your colleagues and now he looks up to you as a great policy maker. So
I don't know, you can tell me looks up to me, but ये तो आपको अगर मेमो मिला है तो मुझे भेज देना होगा.
So what are your plans regarding building up new Intels of New Age India?
So I think that is a story that I like saying, because Pat Gelsinger, who's the current CEO of Intel, came and met the PM in March 2022, March-April 2022. And he tweeted a beautiful tweet after that saying that I'm deeply confident about India for the next 10 years after meeting the Honorable Prime Minister. Then he of course came and met me and we had whatever, chai and moongfali and all of that. And he said, if 2 years ago, Rajeev, if you had asked me to invest in India in a fab, I would have laughed at you. But after Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's handling of COVID, and after India's performance as a nation during COVID and post-COVID, the world has recognized that India is not the same old India anymore. Even though I am not able to say yes today to the fact, I am not saying no. तो ये एक हटके इंडिया का परसेप्शन बन गया after COVID. And it is amazing that we have a Prime Minister with this kind of clarity and vision. And I want to share this with you because there are some electronics engineers here, I'm told. In 2014, there was no electronics production in India. There was some 90,000, 98,000 crores of total electronics production in India. We were importing everything, including mobile phones. In 2014, electronics imports in India were the second largest imports only after petroleum. Petroleum तो हमें import करना है, ये गाड़ी चलाना है. We don't have petrol. ये भी import करेंगे. 2021 में we are today at $75 billion of production of electronics. 5 lakh something crores from that 1 lakh crore, 5 times. Plus every leading brand, Apple, Samsung, manufactures in India, for India, and exports from India the same Apple phone to markets in Western Europe, USA, Middle East and Africa. Samsung भी यही करता है. And we are the second largest manufacturer of mobile phones in the world today. बदला है कि देश बदला है, नहीं बदला है? Now the Prime Minister says, I am not still satisfied. Prime Minister says we are 75 billion. Post COVID में opportunity आ गया है. We want to do more of manufacturing and more of electronics exports. So the target he has set is $300 billion, which is 29 lakh crores of electronics production by 25 lakh crores. In which he wants exports to be 10 lakh crores. Now, what is the electronics majors in this auditorium? You know, what is the main, most valuable commodity in an electronics product? Semiconductor. So, what has our Prime Minister done? This is what I'm talking about, vision. 14, he had a vision about electronics. 7 years later, our electronics vision has come true. In December 2021, he has said, we will become a trusted, important player in the semiconductor value chains in the next 3-4 years, and he announced a semiconductor policy with 76,000 crores of financing. And if that was not good enough, the Gujarat government then said, अगर गुजरात में आएंगे हम और भी ज़्यादा incentive देंगे. So to answer your question, the next 3-4 years we are going to see serious leadership in semiconductor design.